And that's Joseph. Joseph is the lucky person. Okay? So Joseph, please turn on your microphone and answer the question, what is genetics? Joseph?
Genetic is a branch of biology concerned with the study of genes and
Okay.
the
Mm-hmm.
organisms.
Okay. Thank you. And very good. That is actually correct. And that is the correct definition of genetics. So genetics is a branch of biology that deals with the study of genes or the study of heredity. That is correct. Also, as part of the review of our lesson, I have presented to you Mendel's three laws of inheritance. And again, as a sort of review, I will be showing three pictures. And your task is to infer which among the three laws of heredity is being depicted by the picture. Okay, I hope that's clear. So let me now start with the first picture. Among the three laws of heredity, what is being depicted by this picture? This time, I'm going to call a student, and please turn on your microphone and then answer, what is this law among the three laws of heredity? Let's have Crazel.
Permission to speak, sir.
Yes, Crazel?
The picture shows an example of the law of dominance.
That is actually correct. Law of dominance. So in law of dominance, one trait actually is dominant over the other. So example again is this picture. And if you're going to cross, okay, so let me use my pen for that one. Okay, so this is the red apple and this is the yellow apple. The genotype of the red apple is homozygous A or capital A, capital A. The genotype of yellow apple is small a, small a. If you're going to cross the homozygous red apple to a homozygous yellow apple, the resulting apple or the offspring is a red apple. Therefore, we can infer that red is the dominant trait and yellow is a recessive trait. So that is the law of dominance. Now, let's proceed to the next picture. What is being depicted in this picture? May I ask Joshua to answer the question?
Permission to speak, sir.
Yes, Joshua, you are recognized.
Law of segregation, sir.
And that is actually correct. The law of segregation. So the second law of heredity is law of segregation. An example in the picture, this is the allele for sex. And the female chromosome is X, and the male chromosome is X and Y. Segregation, or actually separation, is that when you cross the male chromosome with the female chromosome, the X, this one, the X is actually segregated from the Y. So they are separated from each other. The same with the female chromosome. So the X gene is segregated or separated from the other X gene. So that is called segregation. Your answer, Joshua, is correct. Let's have the last and the third picture. May I call in Shamay? What is being depicted by this picture?
Permission to speak, sir.
Yes, Shamay, you are
Law
recognized.
of law of independent assortment.
Thank you, and very good. That is actually the correct answer. Law of independent assortment. Okay, so and in the law of independent assortment, during the cross between the male, so this is the male and this is the female, the X is independently assorted from each other. Okay, so this means that this X is now independent from this X, because after they have been segregated, that is law of segregation, they are now independent from each other. The same goes with the male chromosome. So this X is now independent from this Y. So they have been assorted independently. So that is the law of independent assortment. So very good, everyone. You were able to get all of the answers correctly, and I think you have mastered our past lesson. And now I think we can now proceed to our main topic for today. But before that, let us familiarize an important concept, and we are going to have this through an online game. And I know you are familiar with quizzes.com. So you will be using the quizzes.com portal, and you just have to wait for me to show the code, and then make sure to use your full name when signing in so that I would know that it is your account. Okay, I know you are familiar with this already, and you may now open your URL or your browser and proceed to quizzes.com. Okay, on your screens now, actually is the code 547876. Please type in the code so you can join our online game. Okay, I'll just be waiting for the others. Julian is the first one to join the game. Jen Russell is also here now. I understand those who are experiencing interconnectivity or internet connectivity problems, you are definitely excused. So 19 participants so far. Okay, okay. So I think we are good to go. 20 participants is actually a good number. So again, for those who are having difficulty connecting, I will be revealing or showing the questions later on. So make sure na you write or jot down the important details of this online game. Okay, I will now click the start button. Narvin, rank number 2. It's a close fight between Crazel and Narvin. Crazel unfortunately incurred an incorrect answer. Narvin with no incorrect answer so far and leading in terms of correct answers. Narvin got perfect score. Let's see who can beat Narvin in this game. Crazel also scored second. Okay, but I think we can already end this game. And so far, Narvin got all of the answers correctly. In second place is Crazel, followed by Kristen May, Julian, and Kyla. So these are our top 5 leading scorers in our online game, Understanding the Genotype and the Phenotype. So thank you for your participation. Let's now proceed to the next slide. Okay, so let's understand further the difference between the genotype and phenotype. So these were actually the questions. The first question was, which of the following is the correct definition for a genotype? I'm presenting now the question. Please make sure you remember the concepts I am presenting. So genotype, the correct answer here is letter D, the set of genes in our DNA which is responsible for a particular trait. So if your answer is correct, then good for you. If your answer was wrong, take note that genotype, again, refers to the set of genes in our DNA which is responsible for a particular trait. Question number 2, the physical or observed expression of a trait or gene is called, correct answer is phenotype. So phenotype this time refers to the trait that is observed or the physical expression of a trait, that is phenotype. Next, brown hair is an example of which of the following? The correct answer is letter B, since as defined in the previous slide, the observed trait or the physical trait, meaning you can see or you can observe, and brown hair, you can see people with brown hair, therefore it is a trait that is observed, so it is phenotype. Fourth one, which of the following is an example of an allele? How is an allele written properly? So again, the way to write allele is letter B. And this is homozygous since they are made up of the same letters, the same man nga uppercase, that is homozygous. In an instance wherein the other letter is a lowercase or a smaller letter, that allele is an example of a heterozygous allele, or capital H, small h, that is heterozygous. But if it is capital H, or small h, then that is homozygous allele. And the last question, which of the following is an example of a homozygous genotype? I think you can answer this already. Again, if they are made up of the same letters, uppercase man or lowercase, then that is a symbol for homozygous genotype. So the answer is letter C. So congratulations again to those who are able to get the correct answers to our online game. Okay, now let's level up, meaning let's level up your knowledge. Since you are already familiar with the difference between the genotype and the phenotype, the next slides will help you identify the offspring based on the characteristics of the parents. So this time, we are going to predict the characteristics of the offspring. Okay, are you familiar with this plant? If you are familiar, let me tell you that this is actually a patani seed or a patani plant. Okay, this is a legume. Let's assume that there are green patani seeds and there are yellow patani seeds. And let's also imagine what will be the color of the offspring if we are going to cross a green patani seed and a yellow patani seed. Okay, so that is the idea, to cross between a homozygous patani green seed and homozygous patani yellow seed. The first thing that you have to do is to represent the alleles of the homozygous patani green seed and the homozygous patani yellow seed. For colors, we use the first letter of the dominant color. In this example, green is the dominant color and yellow is the recessive color. So therefore, we use capital G as the symbol for the allele for green and small letter G for yellow. Again, capital G for green, small g for yellow. So the task here now is, what is the allele for homozygous patani green seed? How are we going to represent the allele for homozygous patani green seed? As I have said, homozygous means they are made up of the same letters. And green is the dominant trait. So we symbolize that with capital letters. So it's capital G and another capital G, since this is homozygous. So this is the allele now for the homozygous patani green seed, capital G and capital G. Let's proceed to the next. This time, how are we going to represent the allele for the homozygous patani yellow seed? Homozygous means they have the same letters, but this is yellow, and yellow is a recessive trait, and as I have explained, we are going to use small letter G to symbolize yellow. Therefore, the allele for yellow seed is small letter G and another small letter G. Okay? Do you follow so far? Please confirm, Julian, were you able to get the idea on how we represent the allele for patani yellow seeds?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Julian. Now, let me proceed to the next slide. This time, we are now going to use Punnett square. And I know you are familiar with Punnett square. Punnett square is the device that we use in order to show the offspring of the cross. Okay, now let me draw first the Punnett square. And I know you are familiar with Punnett squares, and this is how you draw Punnett square. Okay, and the Punnett square usually is divided into 3 columns and also 3 rows. This is for a monohybrid cross. Okay, earlier we have already represented the homozygous patani green seed, and that is capital G, capital G. And we are going to cross this to a homozygous yellow seed, and that is represented by letters small g and another small g. Okay, this time, I am now going to segregate these alleles to the Punnett square. So this will become, this allele is to be written here and also on the other part of the Punnett square. And the other allele is to be represented here on this part of the Punnett square. This is small letter G, small letter G. Please excuse my... Okay, this is small letter G. Please excuse my letters. I'm having difficulty with the pen. This time, identifying the offspring. You are simply going to get the resulting offspring based on the allele of the parents. With the rule, capital letter first and then small letter. So we write capital letter G first, and then the other cross is small letter G. Do the same with the other offspring, capital letter first, capital letter G. I hope you are writing this as well on your notebook. Capital letter G, small letter G, capital letter G, small letter G. Therefore, this will be the offspring of the cross between homozygous patani green seed and homozygous patani yellow seed. This time, we are going to describe the characteristics of the resulting offspring. Since all of the offspring have the same genotype, the genotype is capital G and small g. This is for all offsprings. And how are we going to describe this in terms of the phenotype? What do you think? Is this green or is this yellow seed? May I ask Crazel, what will be the resulting offspring? Is it green or is it yellow?
Since the results, the genotype results are is a big G, big letter G and small letter G, I think the offspring will be yellow green.
Okay. Please take note that we are still under Mendelian genetics. This is still part of the Mendelian genetics. And in Mendelian genetics, there must be a dominant trait over the other. So meaning, if you only have two traits, the resulting offspring must be between the two traits only. And there is no third trait because that is not Mendelian. Okay, so therefore, yes, Susilito, you are recognized.
About sa imong question, sir, what could be the phenotype or the physical trait that could be observed? It could be color green because the green is the dominant trait and the yellow is the recessive trait.
Okay, that is actually the correct answer. Okay, so the resulting offspring in terms of color is actually it's green seed. We are under Mendelian genetics. For Crystal's answer, that is actually correct if it is non-Mendelian. Okay, so don't get it wrong, Crystal. Your answer is still correct. Anyway, it's my bad since I did not mention that this is still Mendelian genetics. But that is for later topics. Okay, for everybody, again, we are still in the Mendelian genetics. So we are not yet discussing traits that are outside the law of dominance. But very good, Joselito, and also to Crazel. Both of your answers are technically correct. Okay, since you are now able to predict the offspring, now this is your task. You are going to find the offspring, just like what I have done rather. But this time, we are using pictures to represent the characteristics of the parents. So an incomplete Punnett square will be shown to the class using PowerPoint slides. And then each Punnett square has characteristics of the parents with no of the students, or your task is to correctly infer the characteristics of the offspring. 2 minutes will be allotted to analyze the Punnett square. So you will be given time to analyze, or you may write it on your notebook. The student who will answer will be selected using the random generator. Okay, so let's begin. Just an example, I'm going to answer the first item. So this is the first item as an example. Okay, we are going to cross these parents. So this is parent 1 and this is parent 2. The characteristic of the parent 1 is capital R, small r, meaning this is heterozygous round. The other parent also has the same characteristic, capital R, small r. R means round, capital R means round, small letter r means wrinkled. Okay, round, wrinkled. Okay, I'm going to answer the first one. What will be the resulting offspring if I'm going to cross this parent with this parent? So I'm just simply going to segregate this R with the other R. The resulting allele is capital R, and if I'm going to describe that, it's just easy. It's obviously round. So the correct answer is capital R, round. Okay, so that's how you answer. Again, you have to mention first the correct genotype, and then you describe the shape, whether it is round or wrinkled. I hope that's clear. So, 3 students will be chosen for this set of Punnett square, and the first student will answer the Punnett square using the random generator. I hope you are ready. As I have said, you will have 2 minutes to analyze the answers to question number 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to start choosing the student who will answer the remaining questions for this Punnett square. So your 2 minutes starts now. Okay, 2 minutes is up. Again, the remaining 3 students will answer number 2, number 3, number 4. You tell me first the genotype, if it is capital R, or you may also say big R, for as long as you mention whether it is big, capital, or small, or lowercase. For number 2, this will be answered by Donnie, ikaw, Gid?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, Donnie. What will be your answer for number 2? What is the genotype?
Round, sir.
Okay, that is for the phenotype. But what about the genotype? What will
Dominant.
okay, what will go first? This small letter R or big letter R? Since you are going to cross these two parents,
R, sir.
what will be the offspring? Capital R and then small r. And in terms of phenotype, it's round. So your answer is correct. Thank you, Donnie. You may turn your microphone off. Let's have the third item. And this is to be answered by... Taylor, are you around?
The cross will be big letter R and small letter R. While in
And then?
phenotype, sir. So phenotype, sir, ng round, sir.
Okay, very good. That's actually correct. The genotype is capital R or big R, small r, and then the resulting phenotype is also round. Okay, thank you. Cyril, you may turn off your microphone now. And let's have the last item, and this is to be answered by... So let's have Julian instead. Kaya lapit tayo ninyo pangalan. Yes, Julian?
The genotype will be lowercase r, sir, ang duwa, tapos ang phenotype wrinkled.
Okay, very good. That is actually the expected offspring. Your answer is correct. Very good, Julian. So these are now the resulting offsprings of the cross between a round, heterozygous round plant with another heterozygous round plant. And to master this concept, predicting the genotype, let's have another set of Punnett square. This time, the trait is color of the flower. Purple, capital letter P, is the dominant trait, and white, small letter p, is the recessive trait. So you have to identify the resulting offspring based on the cross of the parents. So same thing, you are going to have the cross between the parents, tell me the genotype, and the phenotype. So this time, let's have 1 minute only to analyze this Punnett square. Your 1 minute starts now. Okay, 1 minute is over. Let's now reveal the answers. And to answer number 1, what will be the genotype and the phenotype for this cross? So let's have Mia.
Capital letter P, kag small letter P, sir.
And the phenotype?
Purple.
Okay, very good. That is correct. Capital P, small p, that's the genotype. And the phenotype is purple. Correct. Very good, Mia Mika. Please turn off your microphone now. Let's have the next item, number 2. Narvin, our top-notcher earlier in our quizzes online game. Narvin?
Permission to speak, sir.
Okay, what's the genotype and the phenotype?
The genotype is big letter P and small letter p. The phenotype is purple, sir.
Okay, let's see the answer. Okay, correct. Very good, Narvin. The genotype is capital P, small p, and the phenotype is purple. Okay, thank you, Narvin. Let's have the third item. Kyla?
Sir, the genotype is big letter P and small letter p. The phenotype is purple.
Okay, let's see. Yes, your answer is correct. Very good, Kyla. That's the genotype and also the correct phenotype. And the last one for this activity, This is to be answered by Angel.
Sir,
Yes, what will be the resulting offspring for number 4?
small letter P, sir, ang duwa, tapos ang phenotype ng
Again,
white.
what's the genotype?
Ang sa genotype, sir, ng small letter P ang duwa, tapos ang phenotype white.
Okay, again, we are getting the cross of this parent and this parent. Again, please check your answer, Angel. Angel. This cross and this cross for number 4. So this is the genotype. So that is the cross between capital P and small p. And the resulting offspring is still a purple flower since we are getting the cross of these parents. Okay, please again double check your Punnett square, Angel, para you will be getting the correct offspring. Okay, anyway, this is just a practice and hopefully you will master this once we are done with this lesson. So this is just simply predicting the phenotype and the genotype. Okay, this time, Angel, please, can you please mute your audio? At this time, we are now going to solve for the percentage genotype and the percentage phenotype. Okay, so numerical interpretation now of the offspring. So you are now able to identify the genotype and the phenotype, but this time we are going to add another skill that is solving for the percentage phenotype and the percentage genotype. Anyway, this is just easy since you are already familiar with this one. So we are going to use another example. This time, let's have a cross between homozygous patani green seed, the same example earlier, and the homozygous patani yellow seed. So we have the Punnett square already here, and what we're going to do is to simply represent the alleles. So cross between capital G, this is one, and then another letter G with the other parent, small letter G, and then another small letter G. Okay, so getting the cross, you have mastered this already. Again, the rule is capital letter first and then small letter. So big G, small g. Also, for this cross, big G, small g. For this cross, big G, small g. And finally, big G and small g. Okay? In getting the genotype, you are simply going to look for uniform genotypes inside the 4 boxes. The 4 boxes are the offspring. Each box represents percentages. Okay? So since all have the same genotype, we can infer that the genotype is capital G, small g, and since this is 4 out of 4, therefore, in terms of percentages, the genotype is 100% capital G, small g. This is just for the genotype. Now, for the phenotype, we are simply going to translate this into observable trait. And we do that by just simply using the same percentage, kay isa lang man, it's still 100%. 100% nga ano? Is it green or is it yellow? Again, this is Mendelian, so there must be a dominant trait. So all of the offsprings will result to 100% green seeds. Okay? So that's how you solve for the percentage genotype. This is the percentage genotype, and this is the percentage genotype. In case that there will be varying answers, so therefore you will be having different percentages as well. Okay? If there are 2 out of 4, that is 50%. And that if that's 1 out of 4, that is 25%. And 3 out of 4, that is 75%. So that's how we solve for the percentage genotype and the percentage phenotype. It's not really that hard, and I hope you're able to get it regardless of my penmanship, since I'm using the mouse and I'm having problems with the pen. Anyway, let's now proceed. Again, this is the percentage genotype and the percentage phenotype. Now, this is for your individual task, and your task is to solve for the percentage genotype and the percentage phenotype. So you are going to cross. I have already assigned the alleles. your task is to have the cross between two heterozygous round seeds. So this is heterozygous round seed, and this is also heterozygous round seed. So what will be the resulting offspring, and what will be the percentage genotype, and also the percentage phenotype? You answer that on your notes, and I'm going to allot 2 minutes for that. And your 2 minutes starts now. Okay, so time is up. I hope you have your answers already with you. So now I'm going to ask also some students to tell us the answer for the percentage genotype and the percentage phenotype. Okay, now for the resulting process, I'm going again to choose students. Carissa. Carissa, are you around?
Permission to speak, sir.
Okay, I can hear you. Carissa, first, let us know what will be your answer here. What will be the offspring here?
Big letter R and dua, sir.
Okay, please take note. If you are crossing this Punnett square, you look into the parent on the upper part and on the left part. So you are crossing this parent, this allele of a parent with this one. So capital R and capital R. Okay, what about for this offspring? Let's have Christine May.
Permission to speak, sir.
Yes, what will be the genotype here?
Big letter R kag small letter R, sir.
Okay, correct. Thank you. Next, on the third Punnett square, let's have Joshua.
Permission to speak, sir.
Yes, you're recognized, Joshua.
Big letter R and small letter R.
Okay, correct. And for the last offspring, let's have Genevieve.
Permission to speak, sir.
Recognized, Genevieve?
Small letter R and small letter R.
Okay, correct. So your answers are all correct. Okay, so these are the correct offspring. I'm supposed to use my pen here, but it seems I'm having problems with my pen. Anyway, all of your answers are correct. So in terms of the genotype, since, okay, capital R appeared only once out of the 4 offspring. So 1 out of 4 is 25%. That's why the genotype is 0.25. And for the other genotype, 50%, since that is 2 out of 4, that's why the answer is 50%. And the remaining offspring, that is only 1 out of 4, that is 25%. But in terms of the percentage phenotype, take note that the answer for the round seeds is 75%, because if you combine these two, this one, the 25% RR, capital R, and the 50% capital R, small r, describing this, these are all round seeds. So 25 and 50, that is 75. That's why the resulting phenotype is 75%. And this 25%, since we have the genotype small r, we can translate this as the phenotype that is wrinkled, and that is 25%. Take note that your target always is 100%. If you sum up all of these percentages, both for the genotype, this must be 100% total, and phenotype must be 100% total as well. It's just easy, of course, guys, since this is a monohybrid cross. In the future, we are going to discuss dihybrid cross, wherein the Punnett square will be extended. So very good, and I think you have mastered already the skill in terms of solving the percentage genotype and the percentage phenotype. Do you have questions so far before I proceed to the next part of our lesson? If you have question, you may just turn your microphone on rather. If you have no questions, then you can just remain muted. No questions. So since no microphone is turned on, so let's proceed now to another activity. This time, this is actually a form of an investigation. So you will become detective in this part of the lesson. So there's a scenario, there's a problem. Let me read. Pipito, a male, has a blood type AB, and he claims he is the real father of Jose Diva. So Jose Diva is the child, and Pipito is one of the fathers who claims he is the father of the child. Wenceslao, the other father, claims he is the father of Jose Diva. Wenceslao's blood type is type B. If Jose Diva is blood type O and his mother is type A, the dilemma now is, or the question is, who is the biological father of Jose Diva? So how are you going to prove your answer? Using the Punnett squares and also by predicting the genotype and the phenotype. Okay, so let's review first the different blood types and their genotypes. Blood type A has two genotypes, homozygous and heterozygous. Homozygous again is capital A, capital A. Heterozygous could be represented as capital A and an O, but other books may symbolize heterozygous type A with different letters. Others use capital A and small letter I. Others use capital A and small letter A. But for this example, we are going to use letter O for the heterozygous blood type A. For type B, also two genotypes, capital B, homozygous, and heterozygous, capital B, and an O. The third is type AB, one genotype only, that is AB, and the last is type O, also one genotype, O and O. So these are the genotypes, and these are the parents. And your task is, again, to cross and investigate who really is the father of the child. Is it Wenceslao or is it Pipito? Okay. Now, I'm going to show you the pre-made Punnett square so it would be easy for you to answer. So this is now your blood type, and you're going to cross type AA and type O. This is just an example. Okay? So segregate first this type A. Okay, this is A, and this is another capital A. And the other parent is heterozygous, capital A and O. Again, same rule lang yapon in getting the offspring. You are going to cross the parents. So this becomes capital A, capital A. And this becomes capital A and another capital A. For this offspring, cross between this parent and this parent, so AO. And also in the last offspring, it's AO. Okay. By just mentally analyzing the result of the offspring, we all know that all of the children will have blood type A. Okay, regardless if it is homozygous or heterozygous, it is all blood type A. So if the mother is type A, and if the father is type A as well, all the children are blood type A. So kung example, may bata dira nga blood type B, pwede mo ma-question ng isa sa parent nga basi hindi siya naging loyal. That's why the child has different blood type as compared to the parent. Okay. Were you able to get it? Okay. So this one now, you are now going to investigate who is the real father. So your Punnett square should look like this one. Okay? Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay,
Sir.
so let me ask somebody, who do you think is the real father of Jose Diva? Let's have Jemima.
Sir. I think
Who do-
Wenceslao, sir.
Wenceslao. Okay, I'll reveal later on. Thank you, Jemima. What about Von? Von, who is
Sir.
the real father of the child?
Pipito, sir.
For your answer is Pipito. Okay, let's now reveal who is the real father of the child. The real father is, let's have first the cross between Pipito and mother. Again, the mother's blood type is AB, and Pipito is type A, so let's assume he is homozygous or heterozygous. And these are the resulting offspring. We are looking for blood type O since Jose Diva is type O. And notice that in the offspring, there is no blood type O since this is type AB, this is type A, and this is type AB, and this is type B. There is no type O blood type, so it's impossible for Pipito to be the father since there is no blood type O. Therefore, Pipito is not the father of Jose Diva. This time, let's prove if it is indeed Wenceslao. Okay, since Wenceslao has blood type O, heterozygous, and the mother is type A, after the cross, we would be able to produce this offspring, and this is type O. There's just a 25% chance that one of the offsprings is type O, and it is already a reason for us to conclude that it is Wenceslao who is the real father or the biological father of Jose Diva. So the correct answer is type O. So this is just one of the many applications of genetics, specifically predicting the genotype and predicting the phenotype. Okay, I hope you were able to get something from that activity. And now, this is just to wrap up things, and this is to check your mastery of the lesson. You would be able to answer or predict the percentage genotype or the percentage phenotype. Okay, without giving you so much time, let's see if you can already answer based on a Punnett square only. Okay, let's see if you have already mastered that one. Okay, so you're going to analyze the picture and then answer verbally the percentage genotype. So let's see kung kaya nyo na mag-answer even without writing it. Okay, let's have this example. This is yellow plant and green plant. Okay, this time, yellow is the dominant trait and green is the recessive trait. Okay, what will be the percentage genotype? Only the percentage genotype. Let's have Shella.
Permission to speak, sir.
Yes, Shella, what's the percentage genotype?
It will be 50%, sir.
50% what?
Big letter Y and small letter Y, sir.
That's 50%. What's the other 50%?
The other 50% is the small letter Y and small letter Y, sir.
Okay, very good. That is correct. So it's just easy actually for us to predict the percentage genotype just basing on the resulting Punnett square or the offspring. So that is correct. 50% capital Y, small y, and then 50% small y, small y. That is for the genotype. This time, let's interpret that or translate that into phenotype. Again, take note that we are using capital letter Y as the dominant trait and small letter y or the green as the recessive trait. Okay? How do you describe this now in terms of percentage phenotype? Let me ask Donnie.
50-50, sir.
50% nga. Ano nga color?
Green.
And ang isa?
Yellow.
Okay, correct. This one, again, since according to Shella earlier, the genotype capital Y, small y, this is 50%. And if we translate this to phenotype, this is yellow, since the dominant trait is yellow, as I have already mentioned. This one, small y, this is already the recessive trait. Therefore, the phenotype is 50% green. So 50% yellow and 50% green. Okay, so that's how you answer mentally and predict the percentage genotype and the percentage phenotype. Okay, and that's the phenotype. Now, let's apply what we have learned so far. So I have this question. What are the applications of genetics? To what industries can we apply genetics? Anyone? What would be the industries that we can actually apply genetics? Let me hear from Joselito.
An example of industry that uses application of genetics. Um, Hospital, I think, because hospital uses they test blood, something like that.
Okay. Hospital or medicine, yes, that is correct. So geneticists, actually, there are actually ailments or diseases that are that is caused by genetic abnormalities. So in hospitals, in order to prevent future offsprings that are genetically not normal, so doctors and geneticists manipulate the genes in order to make sure that this will not appear in the future generation. So that could be an application of genetics. What about in agriculture? What do you think is the purpose or
Permission to
how? Yes, so is this, please?
Cliff, sir.
Yes, Cliff, how are we going to apply genetics in agriculture?
We can apply genetics to agriculture for to determine the offspring of plants, sir, na ginatanong.
Yes, ang example, kung gusto mo ya tanan nga yellow lang tanan ang colors ang imo nga seeds, then you have to make sure nga ang imo tanan nga halinan nga breed nimo tanan nga plants are pure yellow seeds. Okay? To avoid another color or ang yellow-green man later on kung non-Mendelian na siya or green nga color. So yes, it could be applied. Aside from color, damo pa nga traits ang pwede mapilian. Example, ang pinaka-usual gid is height of plants or the shape of plants. So example, kung gusto mo yang perfect circle tanan, ang seeds or ang fruit nga i-produce, you have to make sure nga ang imo nga i-breed, mga pure man tanan nga mga circles ang iya nga shape to assure you nga 100% round gid tanan ang imo nga products. So kung gusto mo nga tall tanan ang imo nga mga produce or ang imo nga offspring, you have to make sure na you are breeding pure bred nga mga tall nga mga plants. So that's how you apply genetics in the agriculture industry, also in the medical industry. But speaking of farming and speaking of labor, I think 2 or 3 of your classmates here are also part of the labor industry. And of course, this is pandemic, so kailangan gid siguro nila sang other means to provide themselves with financial matters or financial things or things that they have to purchase. And as students or as a teacher, we have to consider this type of learners. So that's why I'll be recording this online class and I will be providing separate activities for them to cope with the lesson. So we just have to be more understanding of their situation. So very good. Those are actually industries that we can apply genetics. Okay? And just to conclude our discussion for today, so you are now able to differentiate genotype and phenotype. So Craysel, may I ask, in your own words, how are you going to differentiate genotype from the phenotype?
Permission to speak, sir.
Yes, you are recognized, Craysel.
In my own words, for me, genotype is the pair of alleles, while the phenotype is the expression of the trait.
Okay, correct. So the pair or the set of genes actually present in the DNA is the genotype, and the phenotype is you are simply translating that into an observed or a physical trait. So that is correct. And how are you going to compute for percentage genotype and phenotype? May I ask Joshua?
Permission to speak, sir.
You are recognized, Joshua.
As for genotype, sir, genotype and phenotype percentage, maobra kita danay, sir, is ang Punnett square
Yes,
para
correct.
ma-determine kung ano nga mga genes ang visible sa ano, sir,
Sa offspring.
sa duwa ka parent.
As a parents. Yes.
Then ano mo, sir, i-obrown mo na mo Punnett square nga ma-determine na, sir, ang offspring. Then imo i-compute, sir, kung pila ka bilog ang offspring kung may pareho. Then imo ano, sir,
I-translate. Describe.
Isulat na, sir, nga or i-describe ang offspring niya, sir. Kung pila ka percentage ang sa muling spring kung may pareho or may lain, sir.
Okay, yes, I think we were able to understand what you're trying to discuss in terms of computation for percentage genotype and phenotype. So very good, and thank you, Joshua. So I hope everybody has now the mastery of the skill computing for percentage genotype and percentage phenotype. And for me to check if you really are masters of this skill, now, let me test your learning. Don't worry, this is just a simple test. This is just a 5-item. Again, this is recorded. And make sure you are going to use a clean sheet of paper. And on a clean sheet of paper, you are going to answer this one. You are going to solve for the percentage genotype and percentage phenotype of the monohybrid cross between homozygous tall pea plant. Please use capital letter T for tall, and homozygous short pea plant. Please use small letter T. Okay, you have 2 minutes to answer this. Okay, time is up. Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this time, I want you to use your camera and please show to us your answer. Just show to us your answer first. Okay, and for me to have a picture of your answer, here's what I want you to do. Take a clear picture of your answer, and then I'm going to send a link to our GC. This is a Padlet, and you are going to send your answer to this link. Okay, while I'm sending the link, just make sure that you are taking a clear picture of your answer. Okay, once you are done, I have already sent on our GC the link. You just have to click that link. Okay, let me teach you how you're going to do that. This is the Padlet. You are simply going to click the link in the GC, and then you have to click this plus button, and then you have to upload the picture. Upload the picture you have taken. And then it will be shown here on the screen. Angel May's answer is also visible now. Let's just wait for others. Okay, so again, if you're still having difficulty submitting your answers, you may do so later on since this will still remain in my Padlet. Okay, I'll just close this tab and let me now proceed to the continuation of our quiz. Okay, so others have different answers, but majority actually has the same answer. And let's see if that is the correct answer. And this is now the answer. Okay, so you are asked to cross a tall homozygous tall plant and a homozygous short. Again, we already defined homozygous, meaning you should have the same set of letters, the same capital or the same small letters. That is homozygous. You will only use different set of letters if you are describing a heterozygous trait. But both mentioned homozygous, therefore you should have the same set of letters. So that's why representing the alleles, you have big T, small t, small t. So these are the parents. And crossing this, you will have the resulting offspring. And the solving for the percentage genotype, since it's all the same, 4 out of 4, the result is 100% big T, small t. Describing this for phenotype, you will have 100% tall or 100% tall plant. Okay, so I was able to see some correct answers. Others, I think they need to improve on their answers. They have to work on in order to correctly answer the percentage genotype and the percentage phenotype. So congratulations to those who were able to get the correct answer. You will get 5 points for that. For those who are unable to get it correctly, you have more activities and you have to practice working on problems relating to predicting genotype and predicting phenotype. Okay? And this is just an assignment Later on, I want you to make a family genealogy. Family genealogy is basically a family tree showing the inherited traits from the great-grandparents up to great-grandchildren. So I will discuss in the next meeting on how are you going to work on this family genealogy. And that's it for my lesson for today. I hope you were able to learn from this one.